Chapter 1. How to get started as an INFJ author. The INFJ author sits in the back of the room. I grew up in a small town just outside of San Francisco, literally 8 miles away. It was on the coast and had an undeniable beauty about it, but it was small. The people I went to school with were all the same, year in, year out, from kindergarten to senior year, and I was an introvert. My goal at the time was to blend in. I didn't want to attract attention to myself in any way. I wanted to sit in the back of the room, keep my head down, read my books, and pray the teacher never called on me. I was an above-average student, and I didn't cause any trouble. For the most part, the teachers left me alone. They didn't call on me. They didn't acknowledge me in any way. And if they knew my name, I would have been surprised. Whenever I was forced out of my shell, I would have the most horrific physiological reaction. I would begin to hyperventilate. I would see black spots in my peripheral vision, and I would break out into a cold sweat. My voice would tremble. When you go to school with the same people year after year, it's difficult to shake those initial impressions you make. So I became the shy girl, the quiet girl, the girl who sat at the back of the room. The one area where I did distinguish myself was in writing. When I wrote, I could be whoever I wanted to be. I had the ability to immerse myself in a world of my own creating, and there I was confident and heroic and talented. My teachers began to recognize this talent. It set me apart from my peers and has continued to be the thing that distinguishes me from others. I remember when I won my first writing contest. I was in grade school, and I wrote a short story about our hometown. At the same time, I didn't realize it was a story about environmentalism and rampant expansionism. But my hometown was a beautiful place, with green hills covered in pines and eucalyptus, where deer and raccoons became regular visitors in our backyard. I wrote about a girl whose world is turned upside down by progress, by people building homes in all the wild places that she liked to roam. I won. I don't remember if there were place markers, but I remember I got a certificate, and my family and I got to go to a local amusement park with the other contest winners to have a few hours of rides without the general public there. There wasn't fanfare. There wasn't an assembly to announce my accomplishments to the school. I don't even believe the teachers told my classmates I had won anything, which suited me just fine. But what it did do was light a fire in me. It taught me that I could communicate with the world not through my trembling voice, but through my writing. It gave me a way to transcend my introverted nature and succeed in the way that suited me best. And it let me address sensitive issues that mattered to me in a way that others could understand. Writing freed me and let me show the world I had worth, that I wasn't just the shy girl with her nose in a book hiding out in the back of the classroom. Honing your craft. The hardest thing for me to do as a writer was to allow other people to see my writing. I wrote a lot. When I started writing, personal computers were a thing of science fiction, so I wrote on a typewriter, typing my stories over and over again, reworking plot and fine-tuning my characters. However, I did not let anyone else read what I had written. No one. Never. Until I took a creative writing course in college. That one course made me stop writing for years. The instructor felt it was necessary to criticize what I was writing rather than how I wrote it. It crushed my desire for writing, and I decided I had nothing to say. That was the biggest fallacy of that time, the thought that I had nothing to say. I had plenty to say, but I had a thin skin, and my natural inclination toward not drawing attention to myself contributed to that. Still, the desire to write was a strong one, and stories began invading my thoughts once more. I had to write, so I began again. Sometime later, I decided I'd developed enough of a hard shell that I could allow others to see my writing. I got lucky and found an online writing group sponsored by Del Rey that allowed writers to come together and share their writing and receive constructive criticism. This method worked perfectly for my INFJ personality. I could help other people by critiquing their work, thereby accessing the feeling part of my makeup. I could utilize the intuition part of my personality by doing something creative. The judging aspect of my persona liked the structure of posting a chapter and having others comment on it. And most importantly, my introverted side liked the anonymity of an online writing group where I didn't have to face my evaluators in person. It was the best of all worlds, and here is where I really learned to hone my craft. Writing, like any endeavor, requires practice, feedback, and repetition in order to be successful. So for all you INFJ writers out there, these are my steps for perfecting your talent. Number 1, write. Write a lot. Write often. Write many different things. You may not know where your strengths lie until you try a number of genres. You should find a time every day to write. Set aside an hour and make it a sacred time. Do not allow anything to distract you. If your attention doesn't allow for a full hour, train yourself. Begin with 15 minutes and work your way up. 2, rewrite. Nothing is perfect in first draft form. Get over thinking that you'll ever be finished with a piece of writing. You will always find ways to tighten it or to rework awkward phrases. In fact, sometimes you have to scrap a project entirely because it just doesn't work. Be prepared for that. 3, share. There's no point in writing if you don't share it with someone. Find an online group or a small community writing group and share your writing. Listen to what others have to say with an open mind. I use the rule of 3. If 3 people tell me there's a problem with a scene or a plot device, I know I have a problem and I need to change it. Number 4, block. Shut out your own doubts and negativity. Don't let criticism make you give up your craft. Give yourself time to mourn negative feedback, then move on. I cannot stress this enough. Move on. Go look at reviews of classic novels and see that even the greatest writers have people who don't like them. It happens. Cry or rage about it, then shake it off. Either take the criticism as valuable or let it be water off a duck's back. 5, read. Find popular books in the genre you are writing in and read them. Read outside your genre. Read all the time. Always have a book going because other people's writing provides examples for your own craft. I'm not suggesting you plagiarize. I'm suggesting you study other authors and the way they use their talent to tell a story. It'll help you find your own voice. Getting feedback from others will help you realize your strengths and weaknesses. Build on the strengths and find ways to circumvent or fix the weaknesses. Although writing is a solitary craft, it's easy for an introvert to bury herself in it, excluding all others. There's nothing more stimulating and reaffirming than sharing your work with fellow writers, no matter how you do it. You might be surprised at how validated you will feel once you are brave enough to share. I want to write, but I need help. The following is a beginning list of places to go to start honing your craft. Of course, you can always take classes at the local university or apply for an MFA program. But if you don't have the finances to do either of these, you can still find some valuable information online. 1, local writers groups. Go to your library or search online for local writers groups. We have a number of them in close proximity to where I am. Some are general and will accept writers of every genre, but some are genre-specific. You have to decide for yourself which best meets your needs. In fact, you may want to join a couple of them to get different perspectives. Local writing groups have speakers and critique sessions, not to mention other resources like cover designers and editors that they'll be willing to share with you. The fees for a local writing group is minimal compared to the power of networking with fellow authors in person. 2, Kboard's Writers Cafe. This online source is exceptional. You can find the latest information about the self-publishing world and network with other authors across the globe. They even have yellow pages that list people who work for authors, i.e., editors, formatters, publishers, agents, and cover designers. The topics are writer-generated, and the participants are very willing to help fellow writers with their questions. Topics range from craft debates to the latest market trends. It's an excellent resource for every writer, no matter what level you may be. 3. AgentQuery.com. If you want to locate an agent to send a query, this is a free online source where you can meet agents and other writers looking for agents. They also have a platform where writers can ask questions and receive answers from the community. Perhaps most beneficial to beginning authors is the quick agent search function. You can search for an agent by genre. 4. Duotrope. This site is a resource for authors in search of poetry and fiction marketplaces. You can sign up for a free trial and search a massive database of places to submit your writing. In addition to that, it offers a submission tracker, so you can keep track of your submissions, even giving you a suggestion of when you can expect an answer to a query. In addition to this, Duotrope has a calendar of themes or prompts to help you get out of a creative slump. 5. Elements of style. Need to brush up on your grammar and composition skills? This classic style guide by William Strunk Jr. is free online, and you can review your grammar lessons from high school or college to refresh your memory. The online guide is searchable, so if you just want to remember how to properly use quotations, this is the source for you. 6. Reverso Grammar Checker. This grammar checker allows you to plug a sentence into their program, and they will give you the best choices on how to fix it. An added bonus to this site is an online conjugator to help you with your spelling questions. 7. 11 Top Writing Communities. This site has a list of online writing critique groups that you can join to share your writing with others who are starting out or who are experienced in the publishing business. As they mention on the site, being a writer is a lonely business, but if you are not inclined to meet with people in person, here is the next best thing to create a sense of community. These are only a few online resources. Please find ones that suit you and your needs as you begin working to hone your craft.